Are you guys ready to find out the tragic story of a man that was promised to be the next great bodybuilding legend, set to make his debut in Pumping Iron? Let's go ahead and talk about it on this week's edition of Fitness After Dark. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newest episode of Fitness After Dark, where we talk about the tragic, the dark, and the twisted side of the fitness industry with yours truly, Naivia Vicentio. As always, ladies and gentlemen. So, dude, it's kind of crazy, man. Bodybuilding and fitness, it's an awesome thing to do, bro. But we have, unfortunately, a real dark side, a real twisted, real tragic side to it. And it's kind of crazy to think that, you know what I mean? America, right? We got the Declaration of Independence. That's everywhere, bro, in the curriculum, right? In schools. And, you know, when you ask people about bodybuilding, bro, one thing is synonymous with it, and that is pumping iron, right? So for those of you that don't know, Pumping Iron, right? The awesome movie, bro. The movie that made bodybuilding, the movie that put it on the map, right? Arnold, Lou Ferrigno, right? The movie was actually a novel, bro. That's right. Get this. It was a book. And with the bodybuilders that were involved with the book, right? Arnold, Lou, there was a guy, right? One man only. His name was Steve Michalik, right? Steve Michalik, those of you that aren't into the sport, or aren't too much into like the whole bodybuilding thing, basically the dude was the next big thing in bodybuilding around that time in the 1970s, 1960s. The dude's story is real tragic. He was poised to be the next big thing, but got into a tragic incident that put him out for a long time until the 80s when he attempted to come back, but his body didn't let him. And in the 90s, he advocated against steroid usage and unfortunately took his own life in 2012. So his life is kind of like a crazy example of just pushing it to 1000%, bro, just giving it your all. And when I was looking into the story, bro, I was like, yo, this is honestly like the story of Randy the Ram, bro, from The Wrestler. Randy the Ram, played by Mickey Rourke, right, was a professional wrestler, bro, past his heyday. He was just pushing his body towards limits that he didn't even know he can do, suffers a heart attack, and, you know, just tries to adjust living without the sport. And Steve Michalik's story is kind of sad, man. It's like synonymous with like the tragic message of just pushing your body past its limits and giving it as much as it can until it can't hold up anymore, you know? He came from a kind of troubled upbringing, right? He had he kind of had like a rough childhood. He was born in 1949. And just from the get-go at the age of 8, he was like, you know what, man? I'm gonna try to do bodybuilding, bro. I want to be a champ at this point, right? But by the time he got old enough, he actually, in 1965, right, him and his brother actually enlisted for the Vietnam War, bro. So they went off to the war, and there's a badass story, actually. So while in the Navy Air Force, right, he was apparently, this is how much of a badass and how much of an OG this man is, right? He was apparently doing incline chest press, right? And a fucking sniper, bro, shoots off, dude, almost hits him, but he's like, nah, fuck that, bro. I'm gonna keep doing my bench, bro. This is an actual story, dude. It's actually confirmed by multiple people that served with him at the time. So by the time he got done with doing his army service or doing his military service, gets back into the States, right? He's like, you know what, man? My thing's always been, bro, I wanted to do bodybuilding. You know, Mr. Olympia is on the come up, but for me, bro, I wanted to become Mr. America, bro. That's been my #1 thing. Mr. Olympia, it can wait, dude. I'm gonna become Mr. America and Mr. World, baby. And that's actually what he did. In 1971 and 1972, back-to-back years, he won both Mr. World and Mr. America, bro. And it's kind of crazy because his mindset and mentality was something of a spiritual one. Like, during his military service, he actually started to live in with a couple of, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of Buddhists, bro. And they exposed him the world of spirituality and gave him new insights on the mindset to really grind and really become a winner. And amongst that, he contributes a lot of the success to that mindset that he had spending time with those people, with the, spending time with like the Buddhists back during his military service. So those 2 wins back to back catapulted his name immediately to the top. And I caught the one of the people that wrote the Pumping Iron novel, and they were like, you know what, man? We like you, bro. We really do. So they got to know him, right? But he was like, you know what, guys? I gotta tell you the truth, right? I gotta be honest with you, baby. The bodybuilding sport is a dirty one. And the people that were writing the novel and were actually getting set to make the documentary were like, wait, what do you mean, bro? What do you mean it's dirty? And this is unprecedented because bodybuilding at that time was seen as kind of like a counterculture kind of deal. So they were like, what? He kind of broke it down to him, was like, yo, listen. We on the side, bro, to make extra money because we ain't making nothing, bro, doing this. We're working, bro. We're working as sex workers, man. They were like, what? and he broke down the dirtiness of the sport, like, you know, the usage of steroids, which was like, you know, people were like, why? So we were shocked, man. So he had definitely like a love-hate relationship with the sport, and definitely had like a different outlook for overall after the accident, which by the time the movie started shooting, right, in 1975, he was already going to be a Mr. Olympic contender, and the sky was the limit for him at that point. But then he unfortunately got into like a really tragic car crash that left him completely unable to walk for the next couple of years. But his mindset, dude, his determination to really give it his all, can become a name and place his name amongst the map of bodybuilding legend and lore, succeeded. In the 1980s, he was like, fuck this, dude, I'm gonna give it my all. He was just pushing it 1000%, was using every kind of steroid in the book from what sources say, and was like, dude, I'm gonna become a champion, bro. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, baby. And he somehow was able to do it, bro. Keep this in mind, right? He was in a complete wheelchair, unable to walk. And by the time the 80s rolled around, 1981, 92, he was back up again, nearly towards his like original physique. But the downside is, because of the amount of pressure he was putting on his body, the amount of damage, the amount of steroids he was putting in his body, by the time 1983 rolled around, a lot of his trainers said that though his physique looked impressive, it was like putting band-aids all over the place. Like, it really wasn't holding up, and there was kind of nothing to it, to be honest. So whenever he did compete then, it wasn't the same as it was in the 70s, and his body was just breaking down bit by bit every time he would go up on the stage. So by the time 1986 rolled around, he actually had a death wish at one of the bodybuilding shows he competed in, at the Night of Champions show. He said to one of his trainers that he wants to die on the stage. Yeah, pretty rough words, man. He by that point was just willing to give his life for the sport, and it was really sad to see, especially since Arnold was so inspired by his comeback. He actually called him the Phantom Bodybuilder, bro. He came back from the brink of death, literally. And by the time 1992 rolled around, he was completely off of training at that point. He was featured in Pumping Iron 2, actually training Bev Francis, who who people follow the sport might know as one of the original founders of Powerhouse Gym. He was featured in the documentary, and by the time the 90s rolled around, he decided to completely just back away from the sport and completely started advocating against the usage of steroids and detox his body entirely from the drug usage he was going through in the 80s, as well as the steroid usage he was going through. And, you know, he, by that point, hated the sport entirely. He said it was the cause of the worst moments of his life. By 2012, he took his life, man. His story is really sad, but it's something to learn about, you know, as like a crucial turning point if you're into the sport and you're looking to really change your physique. Because it goes to show that even if you push your body towards limits that you don't know, there's always that downside that you never know about, and it might change everything. And I know for him, he took it 1,000 to 10,000%. And, you know, it might sound badass on, you know, with the stories, but you never know how it is until you actually come to find out and come to face it. But what's crazy is, though, his legacy, besides being an OG and being a part of the greatest period of bodybuilding in history, the golden era, he had a crazy workout, right? If you think Tom Platz had a crazy workout split, check this out, right? He required per body part 70 sets, baby. 70 sets. That's right, throughout the week, 70 sets. Crazy, bro. You know, if he was still alive today, he would have been up there, man, with Arnold, Lou Ferrigno. And it would have been awesome to see him in the original Pumping Iron, bro, had the accident not happened, man. So rest in peace, Steve Michalik. You were really a pioneer of the golden era of bodybuilding, and yeah, I wish him the best for the family, man. And you know, his legacy will not be forgotten for sure, man. It's a sad, tragic tale, man, but it was an honor to cover it, and hoping for the best, man. So this was this week's episode of Fitness After Dark. So if you guys enjoy this kind of content, be sure to like and subscribe. You guys already know the vibes. And if you guys want more fitness content just like this one, I got two really great videos for you guys to check out right up here for you guys. If you guys want to stay up to date to whatever I'm doing, be sure to follow me on my socials. And best of love, guys. Best of love. Have a badass workout, and remember, have a badass rest of the day.